Hey, it's your girl Reese T, and you are inside Studio C. I wanted to talk to you about something that a lot of us in the musical arts community, the arts period, have experienced, or you may be experiencing it now. And it's something that I call the Hans Solo syndrome. The Hans Solo syndrome. It is when someone who is part of a band, a group, choir, or a team doesn't realize that they are part of a group, band, choir, or team. They have this mindset that it's woo, 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 it's about me, woo, 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 it's about me. And it can be a problem. It can be quite an issue if you are trying to accomplish something and achieve something as a group, and then that person doesn't realize that they need to be a part of a larger picture. And though I'm talking about the musical arts community, this can happen anywhere. This can happen in a family. This can happen with a group or a team at work. It can happen in a church or an organization where people just are not getting that let's work together concept. And, I've discussed this with my friends in the arts community. And it makes for really festive conversation because I think all of us have had that happen. Probably at work, maybe in your family, just people just not thinking about everyone else, not, really considering other people's feelings, not considering the larger picture of what is to be accomplished. Now, the reason that I call this the Hans Solo syndrome is because it's after a character in the Star Wars movies, Hans Solo. And Han Solo, to me, it was kind of a hothead, and he kind of, I don't need you, Luke. I got this. And he just really didn't blend. He didn't work well with people. And, I've experienced this, and it can be very frustrating. And so I want to talk about, some of the things that happen, some of the issues pertaining to this as it relates to musical arts. So we're talking about bands, groups, like singing groups, larger groups such as choirs or teams, where you're creating music. And so, if you have, and we've seen this in movies and all of these what would you call them, biopics about different bands as we go through. If you saw it was VH1 did it a few years ago about the Temptations, and I can't think of who it was, but he kind of wanted to break out, and he just wanted to be, and it wasn't, I mean, the Temptations were the Temptations collectively. They, collectively created music. And so in discussing this with my friends in the past, they said, well, Sharice, sometimes it just happens and it's for the greater good of that musical ensemble. Lionel Richie broke out from the Commodores. It became Michael Jackson, or no, it was Jackson 5 featuring Michael Jackson. And it went from the Supremes to Diana Ross and the Supremes. It's because those were the people present who were most charismatic and most talented. And you know what? That might be. That might be. I do believe in something called the X factor. I think that, certain people have the X factor, the it factor more naturally than others. I think people can be coached. The young lady, for example, the last cycle of the Voice that did the country western. I don't know why I did this for country western. She doesn't play the guitar, but anywho. So she, from the first time that Blake worked with her to her winning the show, she had definitely grown and blossomed. I think in her stage presence, her charisma, and all of that. So I think people can be coached. I think that if you have any little tiny element in there of it or the X factor or talent, whatever, I think that you can be coached to greatness. I believe that with everybody. I truly do. Now, if you just really cannot sing and you really cannot play an instrument or whatever the case may be, then we need to face that music and ask for leading into what our real gifts are, what we really shine in. But I want to give some suggestions for that. Number one, those that are in charge, if there is anyone in charge, if it's a band or a group, then maybe it's the manager, the A&R person at the record label, I don't know. If it's a choir or a team, then there's usually someone who is over that collective of people as well. And so it's very important that the people in leadership management positions make it very clear, articulate the mission, the visions, and the goals for that particular unit. Despite it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a band, a dance troupe, etc., etc. Make it very clear and reiterate what the mission, vision, and goals are on a regular basis. And make sure that the communication is very constant and very clear, so that everyone is on the same page. It's that we don't have a featured person unless it's there's a solo, or there's but we see, I think of some of those movies where the singer is just hey, wait a minute, it's my show, woo. And that's somebody who has the Han Solo syndrome, and they're not quite on the same accord with everyone else. So it starts with whoever the leader is, whoever the manager is, director. Make sure that you are connecting and communicating constantly and clearly what the mission, vision, and goals are for that particular group, what your expectations are of the people who are involved, how you would like to see them work together. That really goes a long way. The other thing that you want to do is to make sure that you create team building moments, team building exercises. And it's really important for people to connect and to get to know each other, to understand each other, to talk with each other, to act out with each other, have fun, and have leisure with one another. And that kind of helps to lessen the case of people having the Han Solo syndrome. The other thing is that you want to be careful about how people are communicated with and treated. Sometimes, without knowing it, managers, directors, A&R reps, they give special treatment to someone who is in the group or the band, etc. And that is bad because it is perceived poorly, and it can cause dissension as well. So you want to be sure that you are conveying equal treatment to everyone. And so you have to be careful about how you're forming relationships with different people. And you may connect a little bit more with this one or that one. But Berry Gordy and Diana hooking up, hey, the other two didn't have a chance. They didn't have a chance. So you just have to be careful about those situations. Now, talking about the responsibilities of the members, making sure that you understand, especially when we're talking about playing or singing or dancing or whatever, working on a project at work, make sure that you communicate what your intentions are, what you want to do. And it really comes down to communication, clear communication and understanding. It comes down to respect. And I'm real big on respect and making sure that everyone feels respected and appreciated in those types of atmospheres. So I just wanted to encourage you. I recently was, as I said, talking with a friend about this. She was having a little bit of a situation. Um, and, I said, this is typical. This is something that happens. Just somebody who's not really connected to the whole. And we can do so much more together. So, I mean, if you want to be solo, be solo. But if you're a part of a group, you're part of an ensemble of any kind, you have to keep that we are whole, we are one unit type of mindset. So, and that comes with your playing and with your singing. So, if it's not a time for you to be doing a solo, then we shouldn't really hear you, stretched out above everybody else. Um, if it's a band, we shouldn't hear you. You shouldn't just take an extra solo here and there, or play or sing over someone else. And that's another episode of Inside Studio C. But blending voices, pulling things back, harmonizing. It really, a lot of it has to do with skill, but it also has to do with your mindset, your presence when you are in a group. So we'll talk about this further, but I just wanted to encourage those of you who may be dealing with someone or a few someones uh, who may have the Han Solo syndrome. And that's all I have for today. Until then, remember to sing from the heart. People can't feel it if you don't sing from the heart. So sing from the heart, and the best is yet to come. Take care, my friends. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.